What up, boxing fans? Gilberto Torres Jr. here with another edition of just some boxing talk, and I want to talk a little bit about Manny Pacquiao's next rumored fight. According to a report from BoxingScene.com, I'm gonna go ahead and put it up to talk a little bit about it. It's titled Pacquiao weighs options for springtime ring return. I'll go ahead and post it in the description box as well, so you guys can check it out for yourselves. But it basically says that the most lucrative option of boxing's richest division is ready to return to the ring. A division and reigning welterweight titleist Manny Pacquiao is making plans for his first fight of 2020, which, as BoxingScene.com previously reported on November 16, is being optimistically targeted for the first quarter of the new year. So, real quick to summarize this, so I don't drag on for too long, it looks like Manny Pacquiao is starting to get ready for a comeback to the ring. Now, the last time that we saw Pacquiao in the ring was when he turned back the hands of time and defeated, outpointing Keith Thurman in a very spectacular Fight of the Year candidate. It was a great fight, and this was back in July of this year. So for Pacquiao to come back, from what I read on the previous report, is that he plans on hopefully making a comeback for sometime in April, because of course he's a senator back home in the Philippines, and it's really difficult for him. His schedule is limited, of course. So there's two names that are floating around. Of course, Errol Spence is a big name out there in the welterweight division, where Pacquiao resides in and has been residing in for a good part of a decade now. Errol Spence, but of course Errol Spence had that car accident. He is dealing with those things right now. So the two names that are floating around are Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia. So of course Danny Garcia has been campaigning at welterweight for quite some time now. He actually has fights against some of the bigger names in the welterweight division, such as Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. Whereas Mikey Garcia's only venture to the 147-pound division was in a losing effort to Errol Spence Jr. back in March of this year. So that was Mikey Garcia's only attempt at 147 pounds. So honestly, guys, I like Mikey Garcia. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what his next plans are. I've always enjoyed Mikey Garcia's style and his fighting abilities, but recently I don't really know the vibes I get from him. Seems to be making a lot of moves that are, intended to be money moves, of course, but I don't see that same fire in him that he wanted to fight against the best at one point. So, and he's coming off a lopsided decision loss to Errol Spence Jr. So even though a Pacquiao-Mikey Garcia fight would be interesting, I think that's a good fight. I think it's a good fight for Pacquiao because Mikey Garcia is also a smaller guy. And maybe the fight could be more interesting if it was at 140 pounds. But I don't think Manny Pacquiao intends to go back down to 140. I think he'll probably close out his career at 147 pounds, not ever going back down in weight. And I think it'll stay like that. So, for me, honestly, the fact that Mikey Garcia lost in a very lopsided, one-sided decision to Errol Spence Jr., it takes some luster off of his of a possible Manny Pacquiao fight. Why? Because there was really nothing there to see for Mikey Garcia, and like I said, I've always enjoyed Mikey Garcia's style. I enjoyed watching him fight. But that was a fight where I felt like he was really cautious. And of course, as a fan, I'm always careful. I don't want to, say something out of line and say that, oh, he should have gone out on his shield, he should have done this or that. Because at the end of the day, it's these boxers, these fighters that are risking their lives in that ring. But with that being said, I did expect Mikey Garcia to do a little bit more in that fight against Errol Spence Jr., and he did it. He seemed to be a lot more cautious, not willing to really risk things. So for him to be coming off of that type of performance and to fight Pacquiao, yes, it's interesting. Two good names, right? You had the great Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia, a 4-division world titleist. But Mikey Garcia is coming off a pretty one-sided loss. So there's really no interest for me to see Mikey Garcia unless he were to be coming off of a 1-2 fight winning streak or something like that, or maybe even a spectacular performance against Errol Spence in a losing effort. Then things could have been interesting for me, but because that's not a reality, then a potential Pacquiao Mikey Garcia fight is of no interest to me, to be completely honest with you guys. But Danny Garcia fight, now that's a fight that I wouldn't mind. And I've always been a fighter, I've always felt like Manny Pacquiao, he's, you know, going on 41, 8 division world titleist. I don't want to see Pacquiao, as a big time Pacquiao fan, I don't want to see him go on for too long. And honestly, I'd like for him to retire at this point, you know, either that or get a Mayweather rematch. Why? Because the Mayweather rematch is the biggest fight possible for him at this point, a big payday. But not only that, it gives him a chance at redemption, and that for me is interesting. That for me, you know, these guys, Mayweather, Pacquiao, are closer and obviously in age. They're from a respective era in boxing, so that fight for me is interesting. It's intriguing, and that's a fight that I would much rather prefer for Pacquiao, or if not, then, you know, to call it a day already. But it seems that he's intent on continuing to fight. So because that's the case, then the fight that I'd like for him to take, if it's between Mikey and Danny, then it would be with Danny. Why? Because with Danny Garcia, he's already a legitimate welterweight. He's been competing at that weight for some time now. He's coming off a good win against Adrian Granado, so he's not coming off a loss or anything like that. So that's a good fight, and I think it's a good fight where Danny Garcia's style really meshes well with Pacquiao's. Pacquiao is you know, an excellent volume puncher. Even at his older advanced age, he's showing to still have pop in his punches, still showing that he has speed, even though, you know, he is on an evident decline. He's still showing that he's better than most welterweights in boxing today. Danny Garcia, of course, not known to be the fastest fighter out there, but he does have power. He 21 of his 35 wins are by way of knockout, so that's a little bit more than half. I think that right there can be a little bit misleading. Why? Because the times that I've seen Danny Garcia actually score knockouts were most of the time one-punch knockouts, because he's got that huge left hook that really catches his opponents off guard, and he's able to creep that in there and really catch them clean in the chin. So that's an intriguing fight. It's an intriguing fight for me because of the styles, an intriguing fight because both of them are coming off solid wins. And so I believe that this is a fight that would be better for Pacquiao at this stage of his career. He wins, he gets another solid name under his record, under his resume. Danny Garcia, you know, if he wins, then he gets a solid name under his resume. A Pacquiao that was coming off of a spectacular win over a young, undefeated fighter in Keith Thurman. So this is a very interesting fight. Like I said, the Mikey Garcia fight doesn't really interest me, but a Manny Pacquiao versus Danny Garcia fight does sound intriguing. So guys, let me know what you guys think. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section, subscribe, and give this a thumbs up, and let me know what you guys think. So God bless you and have a great one.